Here it is, the exchange. And we're going to start back covering some of the things we talked about last week. We talked about BITO, and right now it looks like it's going to be doing hopefully exactly what we said. We had this candle right here showing us we wanted to go on an upward movement. Now we're getting this candle showing us not yet, but we did make a higher low. So at this point, we got here. We got up to the $21.14 area. We need to see some follow through with some good volume so we can break this downward trend. So let's go ahead and make a trend line here. There we go. So we see this getting broken, which we have some breakage here, but is it going to come back and retest this? We don't know yet. We want to see that go up so we can hit that $23.85 area. That's what we've been looking for. This would be a great thing because if we want to do this, let's get rid of this first. Move this out the way. Let's take it old school into another fib. So we're going to come down here to the start of our trend, go up to the top of our trend, and move it over. It came down to the 0.382, directly at this line, 0.382. Now, it dipped down almost to the 50. So this could have been a good little liquidity grab for this candle to go up. So it could have been an order block or demand zone here with a lot of orders looking for buys that missed the first opportunity over here to get filled. So they got filled to go up. Let's see if there's continuation of this movement, and let's go on to our next one. So our next one we talked about was Oxy. Now Oxy, hold on, let me change these candles. My apologies. Let's get this right so you guys can see it as well. There we go. We're here in the daily candles. We had our upward movement. All right, upward movement. We're selling off now, and we have a strong sell-off starting here on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we got this candle here, and it was a strong sell-off all the way to the very end of that candle, which means this is most likely going to come back down to the $55 range. Okay, if we can get to 55, do you think that we can break that 55? Because from what I'm seeing, if you go back, it doesn't look like it. We've tested this $55 range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. There's a lot of orders there in that range to keep this above that $55.71 range. Now, this is true. If you're interested in buying Occidental Petroleum, that range right there, anything from where we're at now, we're at 57 down here to about 56, 54. Let's just make that a buy zone. Why? All right, so let's talk about why. First, we're going to, let me get off of that. Go back to here. Let's go to the 4 hour for Oxy. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger and bring it back. All right, so I have a lot of orders here in this area. So the reason I know that is because we have a lot of movement from that area. We have this right here. Came down, grabbed a lot of orders. All right, that grabbed a whole lot of orders. And what happened there? From this order grab, we started going up. We got a retracement back down, retested that same area of support. Then it started to move up. So I'm thinking if it comes down here again, there may still be orders here that were got in the first time. Someone said, hey, I want to get some orders too. They got in the second time. Then people said it's probably going to test again around $56.27. I'm going to put my orders there. So if it continues down to this area, this could be a good buy zone for a bounce upward for Oxy. If not, we're going to hit this $55 range. And that could be the bottom of that range because it has bounced there multiple times. So what's our next one we're going to talk about? We're going to go into our next one, and that's going to be, let's see, SoFi. All right, so SoFi, let's go back in the daily. Here we go. SoFi is still going in this downtrend. All right. It hasn't been doing too well. Now, I want you to do your own due diligence here, but see who's been buying SoFi. At this time, it is $7.88. Now, the last time it got down to this area, you see it got here and it rejected. So if we take this over again, granted, we can come down to the earnings area, but it doesn't seem like people want to come down to the earnings area. They want to keep it around $7.20 something cents. So if this candle breaks down again into a downtrend, which we had a very big rejection here, a strong sell-off candle here, we came back up, grabbed more orders to keep selling. This could be a pullback for a continuation down to our earnings or the $6.77 range. We have to just wait and see. But if you're looking at interested in SoFi for the long term, I mean, it looks like it's in a pretty good zone for you to buy it because it stays above the $6.40 range. If you're just going back for a couple of days until November, if we go into the weekly, you are in 1, 2. This is a double touch. It may go down to 675 or 617. For me, I already have a zone here in the weekly, and it is right around $5.50 something cents. I say buy zone. It's a gap here, a gap that needs to be filled. And if you know patterns for stock, you'll see you have a double touch. 1, 2 in this area here, in this area here. It touched that area twice at $10.33 with strong rejection. Came down, and now it's coming down again in the weekly. So if you want to buy a long term, it really doesn't matter if it's $1 or $2 off. Why not just get it? But do your own due diligence. That's up to you. I'm going to go back to the daily, and let's move on to our next one. Our next one's going to be, let's go to ARCB. ARCB, yeah. So if you didn't know, with ARCB, ARC actually bought their own Bitcoin ETF. So if you didn't know that, that happened over the last about, I think, week or two. And you see the price has gapped up from here. So now you have a gap that needs to be filled most likely at some point. But now it's currently at a place we drew resistance from based on, I think it was an hourly time frame. And that's at $42.95. Our resistance at the time was $42.87. But it has to break this to go further up. Now, the only reason we're looking at this is because it's brand new. And if Bitcoin's halving is going to stay true to what usually happens, you'll have a breakdown for a while of a lot of Bitcoin. And then when the halving event happens, it's just going to go through the roof. But look at the history. So the way we can look at the history here, same thing we're doing with BITO. It came down, but here we have a lot of history. We got at least $23. The next area is $29. If we keep going, the next area is $38. So we can see, based on history, this has run the run. And since this is the new kid on the block, ARCB, this could also have that kind of unknown history to us. But based on BITO, it could be the same. Now you're getting it at $42. Who knows where it can go? But once again, there's nothing here at ARCB that tells us it's going to do that. We're going to think about it based on the Bitcoin halving event. Okay, so let's talk about another ARC. ARCK. So ARCK is ARC's investment fund. All right, and this is kind of like IWM, but for me, I would not mind owning ARC, but not at this price, only because I feel like it's going to continue down. There are two gaps that hopefully will get filled. I don't own it yet, so I don't mind it saying hopefully it will be filled, but around the $41 to $40 range, and then again, we have another gap, $36 to $35. Now, with that being said, if you look back in the history of ARC, look at 2020, 2021, I want to say, you had, there we go, 2020, ARC went all the way up there to the hundreds of dollars, $155. It is now currently at $46, not 100% off, but it's literally $100 off its high. So if it's at $100 off its high and it's continuing to stay in this trading range, which is $52 and let's say $29, that's a high trend. Let's make it smaller, $52 and $34. If it comes back down to the $34 range, even if you buy it here or you do an option, you could play that as a long play to bounce around either to $52, or if you're doing a long out option, go for $100. $100 strike price, and just do as far out as you can, because essentially you're saying, I believe that ARC is most likely going to go back up at least $50. That's not even to its all-time high. So that's one more thing we can look at. And of course, we're going to have IWM. These are the Russell 2000s, small caps. If you look at this, are you not seeing the same exact thing? The same exact thing. We're in a trading range that is about the 200 to the 164 area. We have areas we marked off as points of interest. We're doing a pullback. We did a pullback. Make sure you guys can see it. So we did a pullback in our current trend. Is this going to be another area where we push up to that 207 area, or are we going to bounce around a little bit and then come down to a demand zone, or right here to 187? And in the daily, because I was in a weekly, my apologies. In the daily, we have a gap from the 173 to the 170 range. If this Russell 2000 continues the way it is bouncing around, it needs to gain some strength, because usually these small caps are going to be good in December going forward for a good while. A pullback is not going to hurt it. It's only going to make it a better move to the upside if it pulls back and grabs those orders. So with that being said, you got some, about 5 things that we talked about today on the exchange that you can look at, maybe even do your own research on, see if these will be good for you as an investment, as a trade, or a swing. Now, thanks for watching the exchange, but you got news too. So if you're going to be trading this week, some things you need to know. Monday, you're going to have PMI, and PMI, if you didn't know, that's going to be one of the index of the economic trends and manufacturing and service sectors. That's when you figure out, how is the service sector and manufacturing sectors, how are they going to impact my portfolio? So if they're doing well, the managers of the purchase, like the people that run the businesses, they're telling you, it's costing me this much to do this. We're spending this much to do that. If they're saving money, it's going to be great for the stock market. If they're spending too much money to make their goods and sell their goods, then it's not going to be good. That means they're not hitting their target prices. But that's on Monday. You also have a Fed Bostic talking on Monday. Also, you're going to have on Tuesday, you're going to have household debt, and you're going to have another Fed Master talking on Tuesday. On Wednesday, you're going to have mortgage applications. So if you're interested in the real estate sector, Wednesday is going to be a good day to hear news. It may help your portfolio go up or down depending on the news. And then Thursday, hey, if you're a futures trader, you love Thursdays, because the initial jobless claims and other jobs news is going to come out, and we have yet another Fed talking, Fed Barker, on Thursday. So that's the exchange for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on the exchange.